सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। रामो राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचमु रामाय तस्मै नमः। रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम्। रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। 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 Let us chant 6th and 7th mantra. अरा इव रथनाभौ संहता यत्र नाड्यः। अरा इव रथनाभौ संहता यत्र नाड्यः स एषोऽन्तश्चरते बहुधा जायमानः। स एषोऽन्तश्चरते बहुधा जायमानः। ओमित्येवं ध्यायथ आत्मानम्। ओमित्येवं ध्यायथ आत्मानं स्वस्ति वः पाराय तमसः परस्तात्। स्वस्ति वः पाराय तमसः परस्तात्। यः सर्वज्ञः सर्ववित् यः सर्वज्ञः सर्ववित् यस्यैष महिमा भुवि। दिव्ये ब्रह्मपुरे ह्येषः व्योमन्यात्मा प्रतिष्ठितः। मनोमयः प्राणशरीरनेता प्रतिष्ठितोऽन्ये हृदयं सन्निधाय। तद्विज्ञानेन परिपश्यन्ति धीराः। आनन्दरूपममृतं यद्विभाति। This Mundaka has been focusing on Nididhyasanam, how to keep our mind in the truth. One of the things in our Nididhyasanam is, although the artha, object of meditation is same, there can be variety in lakshana of that artha. We are not meditating upon different type of consciousnesses. Same consciousness, meditating every day, but in what way we meditate, Upanishad mantra says, don't get bored. Here is a variety of different indicators. This particular set of mantras focuses on using the heart as the support for turning attention to the truth. In the heart, recognize buddhi, recognize consciousness as illuminator of thoughts, illuminator of buddhi. In that way, shift attention. To give direction to a mind which is wandering by default. This is a very powerful technique. Seventh mantra spoke about this. The main thing that we saw here was Yasyesha Mahima Bhuvi. The Mahima of this Atma, who is witness of thought, is much greater than just being witness of thought. It is the same consciousness which is the ordainer of results, same consciousness which, under whose ruling entire creation functions. So this mantra said, meditate in this way. Next mantra is a very popular mantra. 3 results are given of self-knowledge. What happens when self-knowledge takes place? First result is, knots of the heart are cut asunder. Vidyate hrudaya grantihi. Second result is, doubts are removed. Samshayaha chidyante. And third result is, karmani kshiyante. Karma phalas don't bother this sadhaka anymore. Karmani kshiyante, we should understand it as karma phalani kshiyante. Karma is the action that we do. Karma phala is the result that we get. Let us see this mantra. Vidyate hrudaya granthihi chidyante sarva samshayaha kshiyante chasya karmani tasmin drushte paravare. Vidyate hrudaya granthihi chidyante sarva samshayaha kshiyante chasya karmani tasmin drushte paravare. Vidyate hrudaya granthihi. The knot of the heart is opened. Vidyate also means to break. Now what is this hrudaya granthi? Granthi means there has to be 2 things. Even if you want to tie a knot, you need rope number 1, rope number 2. But once it is tied, it looks as though it is one rope. That is what granthi does. So this granthi is between the self and not self. Granthi is between real and unreal. If you want to make it more precise, granthi is between Atma and Jnanendriya. Jnanendriya means organs of perception. When both of them come together, the knot that forms is, I am an experiencer. As pure consciousness, I am neither karta nor bhokta. Mere sense organs are inert, they cannot do anything. But when consciousness and sense organs come together, along with mind, the notion which is born is, I am an experiencer. I am bhokta. What is the second knot? Consciousness and karmendriyas, organs of action. Consciousness coming in erroneous mix-up, coming in erroneous contact with karmendriyas, organs of action. Notion which is born is, I am karta, I am the doer. Giving reality to this experience is called as Hridaya Granthi. So if you want to give one word for all of this karta, bhokta, manta, shrota, that one word is ahankara. So the Hridaya Granthi becomes between Atma and ahankara. Atma and jivatva, notion of finitude. Upanishad is as though telling us here, try to see this knot within yourself. Because it is not happening somewhere else. Right now, if I am speaking, I am listening, how many things are involved? There is consciousness, there is thought, there is organ of speech, and the words that we are speaking or hearing. Between these things, the reality is only consciousness. Everything else is an emergence from consciousness. It's an appearance in consciousness. Consciousness cannot speak, and organs of action are inert. They also cannot do anything. So how is this whole thing running? This mantra says it is because of Hridaya Granthi. Real and unreal, they have gotten mixed up. Now the beauty is, if you ask, how can real and unreal get mixed up? Because they are like light and darkness. This is where we step on the path of Jnana Marga. Because it is an erroneous mix-up, only knowledge is sufficient to remove this Granthi. Meaning we should know the nature of Atma as it is and understand conditionings as an appearance in Atma. And how come this Atma and Anatma is getting mixed up? We say it is anirvachaniya. You cannot pinpoint and say this is why it is. In a way, all the other reasons which are given, reflected consciousness, and ahankara, body, they are all explanations. But if you logically think, how can real and unreal come together? There is no answer. Only thing you can say is, I am seeing the effects of this mix-up. And my main purpose is to open this knot, rather than inquiring how did it come in the first place. That's why we say bondage is because of ignorance. Ignorance of these two things being separate. Mind is an appearance, body is an appearance, sense organs are an appearance in consciousness. When I forget this fact, Hridaya Granthi becomes real. I don't see 2 as 2, I see it as 1. That is this Hridaya Granthi. We'll come back to this word again. Let us just see the simple meaning. Shankaracharya translates effects of Hridaya Granthi as avidya and the vasanas born out of avidya. If it was an innocent Hridaya Granthi, we wouldn't mind it. But what happens with this mix-up is, I am forgetful of my nature as bliss, then I start seeking happiness outside. That gives rise to more vasanas. That makes me do certain things. Strong ragadvesha comes. And if ragadvesha is strong, one doesn't hesitate to do adharma also. So that adharma brings further papa punya. Dharma and adharma. Adharma brings papa, dharma brings punya. And like this our samsara goes on. What is at the root of this samsara? Not knowing my blissful nature. So Shankaracharya says, Hridaya Granthi is a collection of vasanas. So when knowledge takes place, that collection of vasana is broken. Heap of vasanas are burnt. Vidyate Hridaya Granthi. Chidyante sarva samshayaha. All doubts are removed. Now you should remember, if you study Brahma Vidya, doubts about what will be removed? Aparavidya or Paravidya? Doubts about Paravidya will be removed. See, Aparavidya is what? Secular knowledge. The example given was Vedas, Vedanga, Jyotisha, Vyakarana. If you study Brahma Vidya, doubts about Aparavidya will not go. Meaning you will not get knowledge about secular fields of knowledge. You put engineering also in that, mathematics in that. If I study Brahma Vidya, I will not become a good mathematician. All I will know is this secular knowledge also has come from the same truth. In that way you can say Aparavidya doubt will go. But if we study Brahma Vidya, primary erroneous notions about three things has to go away. That is Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara. First of all, before studying Brahma Vidya, we don't get any doubts. Who thinks about, Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara? When we start studying, they take our attention to these three entities. You are there, world is there. In this there are no doubts. But there is third entity, Ishvara, Bhagavan. Now when you start inquiring into these three, we will get more doubts. And what will be the doubt? What I was thinking and what Shastra is telling me. Now some examples. If I say Jiva, what are some doubts about Jiva? What is my true nature? Who am I? So many doubts will start coming after studying Vedanta. Before we came to Vedanta, we didn't have too many doubts about who am I. Either we would tell our name, either we would tell our some other identity. I'd read one nice story. There was one Mahatma who had come to US long time back. And it is said he got an appointment, or the president of this country called him to the White House. And he was very well-known Mahatma. His name was so popular that even the president knew him, so he called him. And the president asked him, "Can you tell me if you have seen God? And if you have seen, can you make me see him? Can you bring him here?" So this Mahatmaji told him, "I can make him come here, but you have to give me your right address." Then he said, "Address is correct, White House." He said, "No, this address is changing address. 4 years before somebody else was there. 4 years later somebody else might be there. What if God decides to come after 4 years? You have to give the right address." Then he gave his previous home address. There also he said, it belonged to somebody else before you bought that house. Now you are there, and at some point it might belong to somebody else. So like this he keeps on asking. Then you realize, what is my true address? If I say body is my true address, I had a different body before. Body has also changed. If you say mind is my true address, so many thoughts are coming and going. Which thought am I? So if you find our true address, you will find address of God, which is the self. He says those are doubts regarding Jiva. And this doesn't come right on day one. After we start studying Vedanta, we start thinking, how can I be this body? How can I be this mind? Those doubts are removed. Then there are doubts about Punarjanma. Sometimes after studying Vedanta also we have this doubt. He said, I know I am Brahman, but is that sufficient to stop rebirth? Or is there any chance that I'll be reborn? First of all, we have doubt whether or not there is Punarjanma. Then, after studying Vedanta, how does it put an end to Punarjanma? So, regarding Jiva, there are doubts. This mantra says all those doubts are removed. Sometimes in our discussion or mananam, we should pick certain topics. And everybody should share what is your nishchaya. What is your conviction about this topic? Not what you have heard. Not only what you have heard, but what is your conviction about this topic? When Swami Akhandanandji would ask people to speak, he would not say, Aap bolo. His specific advice or request would be, Aapka nishchay sunao. Tell me what is your conviction. So regarding our true nature, what is our conviction? Regarding Punarjanma, what is our conviction? If everything aligns with Shastra, then Chidyante Sarva Samshayaha. Now second aspect is Jagat. What is our default thinking about Jagat? World is real. Default thinking is world is permanent. Default thinking is world is a source of joy. And what did Shastra tell us? Whatever we are seeing is an appearance. Whatever we are seeing is impermanent. And 13th chapter Bhagavan says, Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. It is an alaya, collection of sorrow. Predominantly what you will find here is dukkham. So if somebody really starts thinking, they should get doubts. How come this world is unreal? How come it is impermanent? How come it is source of dukkham? So about world, if my conviction becomes very clear and it aligns with Shastra, then my doubts about world are removed. Doubts about Jiva, doubts about Jagat. Third entity one might have doubt is about Ishvara. Doubt mainly about of his existence first. That there is Ishvara. If he is there, in which loka is he there? What about Avatara? Several facets about Ishvara, there might be doubts. See, the bottom line is, in and through these things, whenever Upanishad talks about Jiva Jagat Ishvara, their main purpose is to shift attention to the substratum. So when they say Jiva is Ishvara and Ishvara's conditioning is Jagat, that statement brings doubts. So a sadhaka might have doubt about conditioning part, or he might have doubt about consciousness part. So if I have doubts about punarjanma, doubts about how does this jagat operate, how many lokas are there, those are doubts about the conditioning. But if somebody has doubt about how can I be that Brahman, how can I be that substratum of creation, that is a samshaya regarding Atma. All these doubts are removed with self-knowledge. Chidyante sarva samshayaha. Third one is kshiyante cha asya karmani. All his karmas are burnt. Kshiyante means they as though decay and perish. First of all, they loosen and then they perish. Now, which type of karmas are there? Primarily, we say there are three types of karmas, but it should be understood as karma phala. Sometimes that word karma is misleading. The first type of karma is sanchita karma. Sanchita karma is a collection of all the karmas we have done in the past. Out of that sanchita, one portion has been taken out, which is responsible for this body, and more or less the experiences which are going to come in this body. That is called as prarabdha karma. Prarabdha is not an independent karma, it is part of sanchita, which has already started giving result. But remember, this sanchita is sanchita karma phala. Prarabdha karma is prarabdha karma phala. Then comes agami karma. Agami karma, there are two ways in which it is defined. One way it is defined is whatever karmas are done in this life. Agami means those whose results will come in the future. Whatever actions we are doing in this life, dharma, different actions, sadhana, all of that will be agami. That is one definition of agami. Second definition of agami is those karmas which are done after knowledge. When Brahmajnanam takes place, whatever karma a Jivan Mukta does, that is called as agami karma. Okay. If you take the first definition, then it is clean. You just say, whatever actions are done in this life, everything is agami. If you take the second definition, what is the shortcoming there? If you say agami karma is only those karmas which is post knowledge, then what happened between birth and before knowledge? What will you call those karmas as? New actions, not prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma is only karma phala, it is giving results. But if a person is doing actions before knowledge, whatever actions he has done, so you will have to add it under sanchita. Those karmas which were done before knowledge, add it under sanchita. Then agami, you can say, after knowledge, whatever actions are being done, that is called as agami karma. Actions being done meaning those results which will come because of those actions, that is called as agami. But don't complicate this too much. It's very simple. Sanchita karma, collection of all my karmas. Prarabdha karma, whatever has started giving results in this life. And agami karma is, you take the second definition. After knowledge, whatever actions are done, those are called as agami. Now, Brahmajnanam burns sanchita karma. Brahmajnanam burns agami karma. Prarabdha karma is burnt through experience. Means prarabdha karma is burnt by going through it. Upabhogena shamyati. Only by experiencing prarabdha it can end. But there is a text called Aparokshanubhuti where Shankaracharya says, what is the understanding of jnani? Is world real or unreal? Unreal. What is his understanding of body and mind? Real or unreal? Unreal. So he says, prarabdha is for whom? For Atma, or is it for body and mind and different experiencing coming from world? His prarabdha is for ahankara. So if his knowledge is very clear, then even prarabdha karma is negated for a jivan mukta. Means his experience of prarabdha is not by giving reality to prarabdha. Another commentator he writes, Jnani is always one with Ishvara. And he sees prarabdha as Ishvara Ichha. So whatever is Ishvara Ichha, he has no qualms with it. So therefore, prarabdha being there doesn't bother him. But at the same time, mithyatva of bhokta, one who is going through prarabdha, mithyatva of bhoga, both of it is very spashta, very clear. Now, how does this knowledge burn sanchita karma? Is it like some heap of cotton? You put some fire and suddenly it got burnt. See, karma phala will always look for karta. Because karta did the action, karma phala has to come to the karta. Once knowledge takes place that I am that consciousness which never did any actions. I am that consciousness which right now is not doing any actions. I am that consciousness which will never do any action. When that happens, when ahankara is falsified, those karma phalas don't come to that ahankara. The example given to explain this is, if a person does some action in dream, and if he is supposed to get a result of that action, right at that moment if he wakes up, whichever action it is, dharma or adharma, that karma phala will not come to this person. Because his identity with that conditioning has ended for good. And it is also a matter of fact. It is not that, he is creating some bhavana. He has really woken up. With that waking up, his identity with dream ahankara ends. Both you can take, dharma and adharma. If he has done some good action and he was getting felicitated, right when they are about to put the hara, he wakes up. So then the garland, the person who was putting the hara, person on whom the hara was put, everything is gone. And let's say parked in the wrong place, and he was discussing with the cop, trying to convince him, this is my first violation. The cop was adamant, just about to give him the ticket, and he wakes up. Both are examples, one is dharma, one is adharma. Both don't come to that ahankara. Same way, from waking ahankara, if somebody wakes up to consciousness, totally disidentifies with individual ahankara, karma phalas don't come to that person. Which karma phalas? Sanchita karma and agami, means they are literally burnt. And what pushes us into rebirth are our current desires and those past karmas. Because these karmas are burnt, there is no punarjanma for this jiva. Sanchita karma and agami karma. Agami karma, now it's easier to appreciate, right? How does knowledge burn agami karma? Because for a Jivan Mukta, their actions don't have doership. Their actions don't have this reality given to this thought that I am a doer. Therefore, the results of those actions don't come to that jnani. Now, there is another very sweet point about why knowledge doesn't have, or why knowledge doesn't burn prarabdha. It is that Brahma Jnanam is good friends with prarabdha. Because it is that same prarabdha which brought Brahma Jnanam in that sadhaka. Same prarabdha got Manushyatvam, Mumukshutvam, Mahapurusha Samshraya. All of that was brought by prarabdha. So Brahma Jnanam says, I will not burn prarabdha. Different ways of understanding. This one is a poetic way. But negation of prarabdha is done by Brahma Jnanam. I mean, we should not live in this idea that if I study Vedanta, my experience of all sorrows will end. If prarabdha has to bring something, it will bring no matter what. It will not even see how great Mahatma it is, he or she is. It will just come. But what we should appreciate in them is, how did they go through their prarabdha? One is on the strength of knowledge. And second is their titiksha. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam. Chinta vilaparahitam. Going through those sorrows without any kind of resistance. That is a beauty. Kshiyante cha asya karmani tasmin drushte paravare. When do these three results happen? When this person is able to see that consciousness as one's own self. Tasmin drushte means, he says, that Brahma I am, that consciousness I am. And he is able to see that Brahman as para and avara. These are two beautiful words. Para means nirguna Brahma. And avara means that Brahman which is seen through the lens of conditioning. What is the conditioning? Jagat. So para Brahma is Karana Brahma. Karana Brahma. And avara Brahma is Karya Brahma. Karana and Karya. Means we should be able to see gold as it is. And whenever we see ornament, we should be clearly able to see gold. I should not say, I need to see only that gold bar. Then only I believe, then only I can recognize gold. The moment you make it into a necklace, I start searching for gold. That means what? Para gold is okay. Avara gold is a problem. When that consciousness appears as world, I should not struggle to pay attention to consciousness. When gold appears as ornament, I should not struggle to see gold while seeing the ornament. That is meant here by para and avara. So from Karana standpoint and from Karya standpoint. This is traditional Vedanta, where in the midst of perception, one is still able to abide in the truth. Okay. Three results. Vidyate hridaya grantihi, chidyante sarva samshayaha, kshiyante cha asya karmani. Under karmani we saw three types of karma. Sanchita karma, prarabdha karma, agami karma. Out of these three, Sanchita and agami is burnt, prarabdha is falsified. And para refers to karana, avara refers to karya. That Brahma I am, one who understands in this way, three results are possible for him. Now I had mentioned we'll come back to the first word, right? Vidyate hridaya granti. Goswami Tulsidas Ji has written an elaborate portion on this one quarter. Vidyate hridaya granti. And he calls it as Jnana Deepa Prakaranam. He says this knot which has been formed in the rope, you have to break that knot by keeping a constant flame underneath it. You have to keep a lamp. That flame is Brahmakara Vritti. Brahmakara Vritti. But the beauty is, to light that lamp, there is a long process. Starting from getting a cow, then getting milk from the cow, then turning it into yogurt, then ghee. So in detail he describes the process. Finally put that ghee, then the wick, then light the lamp. What it shows is, this Hridaya Granthi breaking is the last step. That knot we have to keep hammering with several other sadhanas which come before that. Last step is we recognize whatever I was hammering, it was not real in the first place. I did not need to hammer. I didn't need to hammer it because it was real and unreal. Two things coming together, knowledge alone was sufficient. But that is the last step. So in Viveka Chudamani class, we had seen different types of sadhanas. Not everybody comes to that class, so I'll just recap it quickly. The first sadhana is called Parampara sadhana, which is at the periphery. Parampara sadhana includes dharmic life, yama niyamas. Dharmic life alone is called as yama niyamas, rules that we should follow. Second aspect of Parampara sadhana is karma yoga, nishkama karma, selfless actions. Third aspect of Parampara sadhana is upasana, meditating upon Bhagavan. All three put together is called Parampara sadhana. Now you see, how is it helping us open the knot? Whatever we are told to do will lead us to Brahman. If you are told to hold on to dharma, let go of adharma. Dharma is very close to Brahma. Adharma is very far away. Disciplines, yama niyama, between selfishness and selflessness. Selflessness is very close to Brahman. So those things will help us come closer. So this is Parampara sadhana. After that comes Bahiranga sadhana. Bahiranga sadhana was sadhana chatushtaya. Fourfold qualification, that is little interior compared to the Parampara sadhana. Majority religion will fall under Parampara sadhana. Do's and don'ts, how to live moral ethical life. But not necessary that a person who is ethical, moral, religious is also seeking moksha. Sadhana chatushtaya is along with religious life, along with ethical life. He has started getting this deep desire to be free from bondage. Viveka Vairagya, Shamadhi Shat Sampatti Mumukshutvam. Mind is quiet and calm. After Bahiranga Sadhana comes Antaranga Sadhana. Antaranga Sadhana is Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Along with the Sadhana Chatushtaya, along with ethical life, dharmic life, karma yoga, he is now focusing on high quality of Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Then the last step is called as Sakshat Sadhana. Sakshat Sadhana is when he is actually able to shift his attention to the truth and abide there. If he is a Uttama Adhikari, Antaranga Sadhana, Sakshat Sadhana will be same. Right when he does Shravanam, he is able to shift attention to the truth and never falls from there. But in general, what we need is repeated Shravanam, repeated Mananam, repeated Nididhyasanam. With that, whenever the knots of the heart start weakening, the last step of breaking is understanding that I was not bound at any point. So, Vidyate Hrudaya Granthi, we should appreciate from where we have started. Ethical life, dharmic life, selfless service, those were the sadhanas given to us, upasana. Then we came to sadhana chatushtaya. Then one has to do Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Final step is breaking of the knot. If you want to remember these four things, map it to some example. So example we had taken in the class was cooking food. Step number 1, going to the grocery store. Parampara sadhana. Step number 2, getting all the equipments ready. Sharpening the knife, cleaning the pots. That is called Bahiranga sadhana. Step number 3, actually cooking. A recipe is there, everything is there. You have to finally mix it together. That is Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Cleaning the pots and pans, sharpening the knife was Bahiranga sadhana, sadhana chatushtaya. You are sharpening the instrument. Then step number 4 is finally eating. Becoming one with it, with the food, that is Sakshat sadhana. So Vidyate Hrudaya Granthi is step number 4. Okay. Now let us see the Bhashya. Asya Paramatma Jnanasya Phalam Idam Abhidhiyate Vidyate Hrudaya Granthihi Avidya Vasana Prachayah Buddhi Ashrayah Kamah Kama Yesya Hrudishritaha Iti Shrutyantarat Hrudaya Ashrayah Asau Na Atma Shrayah Bhidyate Bhedam Vinasham Ayati Chidyante Sarve Nyeya Vishayaha Samshayaha Laukikanam Amaranatu Ganga Srotovat Pravritta Vichedam Ayanti Asya Paramatma Jnanasya. Whatever we have been discussing as Paravidya, nature of Akshara, Phalam Idam Abhidhiyate. This is the result of that knowledge. In both ways you can take it. Jivan Mukti and Krama Mukti also. Krama Mukti means if some sadhaka is there where knowledge did not take place, but he was able to meditate upon this truth as upasana, then that sadhaka will go to higher worlds. From there he will get liberation. So, Vidyate Hridayagranthi Chidyante Sarva Samshaya did not happen here, but it happened in Brahmaloka, happened in some other loka. Vidyate Hridayagranthi. What is Hridayagranthi? Avidya Vasana Prachayah. Chaya means to pick. Prachayah means whatever we have picked very well. Through several lives, several janmas. We go cherry picking over here, right? Behind there is a basket, put it. So we have picked several vasanas because of avidya. Collection of all of that is called Hridaya Granthi. Whatever deepens this notion, I am a doer and I am an experiencer. That is this Hridaya Granthi. Where do they live? Buddhi Ashrayah Kamaha. This is a very beautiful point. The Hridaya Granthis, in particular the Kama, desire. Shankaracharya says they don't live in Atma, they live in Buddhi. If somebody is able to let go of Buddhi, really speaking, what have they let go of? All Kama. If somebody is able to falsify Buddhi, along with Buddhi, Kamanas are also falsified. But remember, this is again advanced stage of a sadhaka. If Kamana is bothering, if Kamana is very powerful, no matter how many times we say, I am not Buddhi, still we cannot let go of that Kamana. So in unreal Buddhi, we will have real Kamana. But if Kamanas are weakened, then instead of struggling with each desire one by one, he is able to say, I am not this Buddhi. Buddhi Ashrayaha Kamaha, Kama Yese Hridishritaha. All these desires, they live in the mind, the Buddhi. Iti Shrutyantarat. In other Shruti, it is said in this way. Hridaya Ashrayaha Asau na Atma Ashrayaha. These vasanas, they live in Anatma, not in Atma. So when we say, I have to do Atma Shodhanam, once I understand nature of consciousness, again we should not have this doubt that does this consciousness become impure because of vasanas. Both are different projects. Purifying vasanas, that is part of sadhana, and understanding consciousness to be ever pure, that is the knowledge part. Na atmashrayah bhidyate bhedam vinasham ayati. All these knots of the heart are destroyed. Chidyante sarva. So sarva is sarve jnaya vishayaha samshayaha. The doubts about jnaya vishaya. What is the main jnaya vishaya? Jnaya means what should be known. 13th chapter Bhagavan says, Jnayam yattat pravakshami. What should be known is kshetrajna, nature of the self. So whatever doubts he might have about Atma, those doubts are removed. That is why we saw two types of doubts. One is regarding conditioning, another is regarding the self. With regards to conditioning, we might have doubts about Jiva, doubts about Jagat, doubts about Ishvara. But another doubt is that there is only one substratum for all these three. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, they are all an appearance in that consciousness. Sarve jnaya vishaya samshayaha. For wise person, it is removed. What happens to others? Laukikanam, the ignorant, amaranatu ganga srotovat pravritta. Until the body drops, doubts remain. Continuously they are coming one after the another, like flow of Gangaji. Ganga Srotovat. See, whenever river example is given, two things are mentioned there. One is it is continuous. Second is it is effortless. River doesn't need to put forth effort to go forward. So like that, it continuously keeps getting different doubts. Antidote for doubt is Shraddha. Whatever we learn, if we learn it with faith, slowly we will realize our own intellect is powerful enough to quieten all doubts. If I heard, studied minus Shraddha, then that intellect is weak. Shraddha quality, in Taittiriya Upanishad it is said, belongs to intellect. Tasya Shraddha eva shiraha. Shraddha eva shiraha of that bird is of Vijnanamaya Kosha, intellect. Sarva samshayaha vichedam ayanti. What doesn't get destroyed for such a long time for an ignorant person, that gets destroyed for this jnani. Let us complete the next part. Asya vichinna samshayasya nivritta avidyasya yani vijnana utpattehe praktanani janmantarecha apravritta phalani jnanotpatti sahabhavini cha kshiyante karmani natu etat janma arambakani pravritta phalatvat tasmin sarvajne asamsarini paravare paramcha karanatmana avaramcha karyatmana tasmin paravare sakshat ahamasmiti drishte samsara karana uchchedat muchyate ityarthah. Asya vichinna samshayasya, of this person who is free from all doubts, nivritta avidyasya, his doubts have been removed, ignorance have been removed. Yani vijnana utpattehe praktanani janmantarecha. On the dawn of this knowledge, whatever actions he has done in previous lives, praktanani janmantarecha, apravritta phalani. Apravritta phalani means they have not yet started giving results. What is another name of apravritta phalani? Sanchita karmas. Jnana utpatti sahabhavini. Those actions which are done after dawn of knowledge. What are those karmas called as? Agami karma. So according to Shankaracharya ji, in this particular bhashya, Agami karmas are those actions which are done after knowledge. That's why he says Jnanotpatti Sahabhavini. Sahabhavini means along with. Kshiyante karmani. Those actions are burnt. They are removed, erased. Natu etat janma arambakani. But those actions which are responsible for starting this life, giving us this body, those actions are not erased. Pravritta phalatvat tasmin. Pravritta phalatvat means because they have already started giving the result. The example given of prarabdha karma is like a short arrow. Once you release it, then you say, oh, I want to change the target, or I should not have released it. You say it's not in your hand. It will stop only when it hits the target. So prarabdha is like that. Once it has started, it will quieten only after giving result. The only option we have is how can we handle it gracefully. Immediate step, devotional step, absolute step. Immediate step, do whatever is needed. If I have to take medicine, I have to take. Devotional step, look at it as Ishvara Ichha. Absolute step, think about who is going through prarabdha. What have I heard and what I am experiencing? What do I feel? That is the way to look at prarabdha. How is he able to do this? Tasmin sarvajñe asamsarini. When he is able to pay attention to that sarvajña asamsari atma. Sarvajña word has come from previous mantra. Yas sarvajña sarvavit yasyaisha mahima bhuvi. That truth which he meditates every day. Paravare, paramcha karanatmana. Para refers to karana atma. And avara refers to karya atma. In simple words, para refers to nirguna Brahma, without conditioning. And avara refers to that same Brahma seen through the lens of conditioning. And both we have to be comfortable. One cannot say, I am comfortable only with nirguna Brahma. Neither can we say, I am only comfortable with saguna Brahma. I feel Brahman always has conditioning. He says no. When he understands nature of Brahma as para and avara and as one's own self. That's why the next line comes, Tasmin paravare sakshat aham asmi iti drishte. If he says there is some Brahman who is nirguna and that same Brahman appears as creation, I meditate upon that Brahman. What will that be? Jnana or upasana? That will be upasana. Because there is some Brahman. I is there. I am this body, I am this conditioning, and I meditate upon that Brahman. That will be upasana. So that is krama mukti. But if I am able to inquire into I and understand I am that consciousness and understand that same consciousness para and avara, without conditioning and with conditioning, that is called as jnanam. Samsara karana uchchedat muchyante. He is freed from all samsara. Okay. So happy Shivratri to all of you. We have to invoke Bhagwan's grace for greater inspiration to keep studying and to reflect on this knowledge. Adi Guru is Bhagwan Shiva. All these verses are coming from him. Tomorrow we won't have Ramcharitmanas class in the evening. Thursday morning also we won't have this Mundaka class. I hope to see all of you at the puja. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. There is one question here. Jivan Mukti cannot have karma phala. How Agami karma applies here? That is precisely what they are telling. In Jivan Mukti, Jnani doesn't get karma phala. But if let's say Jnani does some good actions, see, action will produce some kind of phala. That is why in Tattva Bodha it is said, whoever praises a Jnani, karma phalas, dharmic karma phalas go to that person. Because they need some kind of ashraya. Okay. Only one side is good enough. We don't have to discuss the other side. Because that is also said in Tattva Bodha. Okay. Hari Om. Hari Om.